I want to talk very briefly about, just the psychological construct of one's consciousness and how they may be perceiving things and coming to certain conclusions really fast, almost so fast that you don't even really see it. It's called a conditioned reflex. And one of those actually has to do with me even being here talking to you about this type of knowledge, because what happens is that we have this construct already set up in our mind that says, hey, if somebody is talking about something and it's really true and it really is going to change things and it really can help me, 9 times out of 10, they won't even be there. They won't even be doing that. It's all either a hoax, a fad, or they would have killed that guy. This is what the subconscious mind is already doing. It looks at things from entertainment. It doesn't even look at things to listen. It looks to figure out when it's going to respond and how it feels about that. I agree with that. I don't agree with that. I agree with that. I don't agree with that. Not I'm sitting down and I'm working to learn something. And as I said, that is, again, the power of the space of the mentors and the masters, is that you already know you're coming in to actually learn something. So you kind of put yourself into receptive mode. And then that whole trust thing is already diminished as far as you needing to determine if you could trust the person so you can listen to what they're saying, because, that person has generally been vetted in some way or shape or form, or has some kind of accolade that can be seen that says to the person, you should listen to this being. And so other than that, it's like entertainment. It's like getting in front of something and saying, really, I don't actually believe in what they're saying, because if they were saying something very massive and life changing, then they wouldn't even be allowed to do it. That's just what the subconscious mind is doing. So I just want to work in programming that very briefly to explain to you, actually, the reason why I'm here explaining to you these great mysteries and these gems is because the beings that would normally be holding that knowledge back from you don't believe that you're actually going to listen to this or pay attention to it. And pretty much maybe they can see your track record proves that that's pretty much the case. Meaning, even overall, when we say humanity, when we say even our nation, the track record for a large percentage of the people from this nation specifically to not really move on any kind of knowledge and awareness, no matter how pertinent it is for them, is spectacularly high. So high that they don't even need to really work at other things like trying to remove people that actually have the truth, because they're so minuscule within themselves, and not to mention they wouldn't even be listened to. So what I'm really doing and why I'm here is, one, to make a record in the infinite annuals, and two, to make sure that for that small percentage, maybe, I wish it was everyone, but that small percentage that has been really looking at this message and dialing in for years to this projection that we've co-created together, that they get the message. And like, let's say, for instance, you know how you send out a newspaper every day, that they get the up-to-date, here's what's going on in the collective, as far as real conscious collective, and what we know to be happening and what moves we should be making as we navigate this ocean, because this is not static. So meaning that you can't really say, oh, I know everything. It's just not possible. Even things are happening right now that you don't know. So how do you know that until finally it comes down the pipeline and gets to you? So you can never say you know everything. I can't say that I know everything for that main reason. But I'm learning things all the time, and I'm experiencing things all the time. And then also what I've done is, instead of trying to learn everything, I've honed stuff into, let's say, symbols, let's say blueprints, let's say keywords. That way I know exactly what trail to follow to determine what's going on and what I need to be paying attention to. That way I don't just get overwhelmed in the deluge of data and the deluge of information that is now available, since this is, of course, the information age, right? So I want to, again, demystify this thing about that if I was here talking to you, it wouldn't really be of value or something that is not as powerful or is powerful enough to change your life, because the subconscious mind is thinking that and doing that because it's saying, well, because if he was giving you something, they would not even have him here talking to you. They would remove you. He would be up to a scam, whatever. It has like 5,000 things it can do in a minute. And I'm going to explain why that's there also. And this is called the theory of conditioned reflex. This is actually a precise term, because they had to come up with a lot of different terms. English in itself is kind of like white bread for a while. You got to invent words and invent, phrases to explain certain conditions. And in psychology, since they have to map out so many aspects of things that need to happen, people's consciousness, things that occur, conditions, things that they could be subject to, they have a huge vernacular in there. And one of those terms is the theory of, or not the theory anymore, because it was proven to be fact in many ways if you can subject a person to the proper conditioning, but it's just called the conditioned reflex. And what the conditioned reflex is that when they can concoct a whole phantasmagoria and a theatrical situation all around you and literally trigger you through symbols, words, colors, even certain tones and rhythms, and how you immediately react because you heard that, smelled that, or tasted that, or whatever is so fast that you don't even realize that you actually reacted to it in that way. And that's called the conditioned reflex. It was something that was discovered after experimenting on pigeons, experimenting on mice, experimenting on dogs, experimenting on then psychologically impaired patients, then children. This is the order of experimentation. Then minorities, and then finally into the open populace of how can we cause this conditioned reflex. And also what is embedded within that is what is also known as a change agent. And what this means is that, so then when it's time for, let's say, this conditioning to take place, the change agents are then used to allow the person to basically switch into an altered state that they wouldn't even really accept as being the truth at another stage of their existence, right? So this is kind of like the phenomena of these people now hailing in the president as if, or the, shit, you got to watch these terms, but hailing in this person as being the savior or help to what we have going on here, when every single set of ancient knowledge, all the way up to the modern that has recorded the continuous barrage on not only the spiritual world, but also the physical, has already unearthed the awareness that there would be two parties controlled by the same people. There would be psychology deployed, MK Ultra deployed, in order to make the ideals of people actually conform to whatever it is that they wish. And that why they were all playing this game in the big time thing, there was huge moves being made to actually continuously harness and control all of the energetic current that is coming off of that force. Like, so all of humanity, all of the children that we produce, that energy overall being in governance and being controlled by the humans, if you may, are just running around in some kind of psychological frequency cage. Like, just see it as it is today. Like, look where we're at. That's why I said, how do we get here? Look at folks every day, a picture of themselves. How much have you accomplished? How much you've really done? Why would anybody really care? Is this really about you? Or is this about you feeling good because somebody else likes what you look like? And realizing, is that a psychological itself impediment because of not having those who care about you and love you earlier in your life, because this situation and system has even removed the parents from the household, sent them to work, sent the mother to wear the pants and everything, sent her to the factory so she could build weapons, and sent dad out to the battlefield. And then now, here you are left alone, and that being the reason why you do what you do, and being able to go right into your own construct instead of being blocked by, let's say, ego pride, being blocked by that, and being able to go into your own construct and begin to do the surgeon's work to release yourself from these diabolical shells of demented personalities, such as we know, the oral, the anal, the psychopathic, the masochistic, the schizophrenic, the 5 shells or inverted avatars of humanity that we have sunk into at times in mire because of opportunists that have nothing better to do all day than figure out how they're going to drain our energy, basically, to look at us like we're on Amazon, like a catalog, and, which one do I want, here with me tonight, or which one do I want to try to control? And then, you being a product of that and needing to make it from, I guess, as a pauper beyond the palace.